When you think about someone who's made it, what's the first image that comes to mind? For most of us, it's not a fancy car, it's not some expensive watch, it's the house, the big, beautiful house. But here's a thought. What if for many of the world's wealthiest people, that dream home is actually a financial trap they're trying to avoid? I mean, we've all been taught to believe this, right? That planting your flag, getting that massive mortgage, is the absolute pinnacle of financial success. It's the American dream. It's the dream everywhere, really. But the numbers are starting to paint a very, very different picture. So get this. Since just 2019, the number of millionaires who choose to rent in the US has tripled. Tripled! That's not just a small shift in the market, that is a seismic change in thinking. And it really begs the question, what do they know that the rest of us don't? Well, let's find out. Okay, first things first, we have to tackle the home ownership myth head on. This idea that your primary residence, the home you live in, is your best investment, well, it's one of the most persistent financial tales ever told. But you see, for the ultra-wealthy, it just doesn't add up. It all comes down to how they view capital, opportunity, and risk. They don't see a pile of money, they see an army of soldiers, and every single dollar has one job: to go out and capture more territory. The question for them is never, can I afford this? It's always, is this the best possible job for my capital? And this all boils down to one central concept: opportunity cost. Think of it as the ghost of the road not taken. For every $1 million you sink into a house, that's $1 million that isn't out there working for you somewhere else. And for the wealthy, that's a cost that drives every single decision. Let's just put this into perspective. Say you have $5 million. You could buy a gorgeous house, and yeah, maybe its value goes up, say, 3 to 5% a year. Or you could put that same $5 million into the market, which historically averages closer to 10%. Over time, that difference isn't just a gap, it's a giant canyon. Your house just sits there while your investment portfolio is out there actively building your wealth 24/7. This ties right into another crucial concept: liquidity. Liquidity is basically financial agility. It's the ability to pivot and jump on an opportunity the moment it appears. But when your cash is all locked up in a piece of property, you lose that superpower. And real estate is notoriously, famously, illiquid. In fact, getting your money out of a house is a long, often painful process. It can take months, sometimes even years. You've got agents, staging, endless negotiations, tons of fees. It's just a slow-moving beast. Now, compare that to selling a stock, which you can do with the click of a button. For an investor, that speed is absolutely priceless. So, on top of being stuck, your money is also incredibly vulnerable. I mean, Wealth Management 101 is diversification. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Buying a multi-million-dollar home is like putting all of your most valuable eggs into one very fragile, very stationary basket that's exposed to everything from a local market downturn to a natural disaster. Okay, so we've covered the opportunity cost. That's all the money your house could be making you. But it's not just about the missed gains. Now let's talk about the direct financial drain, the burdens of owning. See, when you own a house, your money isn't just sitting there, it's actively being consumed. You know how people talk about the hidden costs of homeownership? Well, for the wealthy, they're not hidden at all. They're glaringly obvious. Property taxes, insurance, constant maintenance, landscaping. A house is a hungry beast that always needs feeding. It is an ongoing, relentless drain on your resources. And the numbers here can be staggering. A general rule of thumb is that annual maintenance costs between 1% and 4% of a home's value. So for that $5 million property, that's up to $200,000 a year just to keep it going. That's not an investment. That is a massive expense. So if owning is such a financial headache, what's the alternative? Renting. But we're not talking about some cramped apartment here. We are talking about renting like royalty, as a strategic lifestyle choice that gives you all the freedom, all the flexibility, and all the perks of ownership with none of the burdens. These modern luxury rentals are basically 5-star hotels you can live in. You get the pool, the gym, the concierge, the valet, but when the roof leaks or the AC breaks, it's just not your problem. For entrepreneurs and billionaires who live these global lives, the ability to just move from New York to Dubai to London without being tied down, that is the ultimate luxury. Think about it like this. The homeowner's weekend is just a list of chores and financial obligations. The renter's weekend? It's their own. Because the most valuable asset the wealthy have isn't money, it's time. and renting buys them that time back. What all of this really points to is a fundamental shift in what it actually means to be wealthy. The old status symbols are being replaced by a new definition, one that's centered not on possessions, but on true financial freedom. It brings us to a simple but incredibly powerful rule that guides so many investors. An asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes money out of your pocket. And from that perspective, your primary residence isn't an asset. It's arguably your single biggest liability. The wealthy, they focus on buying true assets, like businesses or income-producing properties that put money in their pocket. Ultimately, for the modern wealthy, the goal isn't to look rich, it's to be free. Free to move, free to invest, free from the burdens of maintenance, and free to spend their time exactly how they choose. They prioritize building a portfolio of assets that work for them, not collecting a bunch of possessions that they have to work for. And that's really the big takeaway here. This isn't just about billionaires. It's a mindset that all of us can learn from. It encourages us to look at our biggest financial decisions and ask a simple, powerful question. Is this purchase putting my money to work for me? Or is it just putting me to work for my money? The answer might just change everything.